Good evening and welcome to our Cigar Saturday Live with myself, Tom Fisher, and also Matty Rock. We do this every Saturday night here on BourbonBlog Live, and we are thrilled tonight to welcome to the show our good friend Sanj Patel. He is the owner of Sanj's Smoke Shop in Bloomfield, New Jersey, and he's had it since 1992, a real wealth of knowledge of cigars and so much more. Like this video, share it, and feel free to ask all kind of cigar questions all night long. How you guys doing?
Hanging in there, my brother. How you feeling?
Good, good. How are things there at the smoke shop, Sanj?
No complaints. You saw the back. That's a lot of people doing barbecue.
Very, very nice. And you got all kind of fun. Hello there. So it's always a party at Sanj's Smoke Shop, isn't it? Always a party. And so you're about three decades into the shop.
Yes.
Amazing stuff. Well, what is it? Let's just start right away and ask you, what's it been like during the last 4 months during COVID? How's life been treating you there at the smoke shop? How have things been different? What have you noticed?
Well, for me, I was looking for it, Tom. To be honest with you, I was burnt out. I've been doing this for a long time, and I was looking for a vacation, and that was the best thing I got. I needed 20 more days because I had a lot of work to do home, so I wish I had 20 more days. But you know what? It didn't affect me. Unfortunate thing that for a lot of new shops and stuff, you feel bad, But I'm well situated. I have an ample inventory. So, we didn't have even issue getting inventory. I have inventory that will last me next 5 years.
You have enough to last you 5 years. Wow.
Yeah. I have a lot of inventory.
Wow.
And then, it is what it is, but I didn't feel any different when we opened June 22nd, first day. It's like nothing ever happened for us. Back to normal. You saw there's 40, 50 people in the back.
Wow.
They didn't be in the front. I just told them to get out because I didn't want to be too noisy.
Very nice.
Yeah,
a cigar shop that Matty really enjoys. It's not too far away from you, Matty, is it?
No.
It takes me about 20 minutes, 25 minutes.
Well, that's because of the way Matty drives. My grandmother could make it here in 3 minutes. It takes Matty 20.
Yeah, I got a freaking soccer mom truck. What do you want?
Yeah, exactly.
That's as fast as the Honda Pilot goes, baby. That's what we got.
We could go on Matty's record time, right?
So Sanj's been busting my balls for the better part of the last 12 years. So he's family. I got to tell you, man, what's cool, and I'll let Sanj speak for himself, is not just the fact that he's been doing what he's doing for almost 3 decades, but he's also a blender. He's made many of his own sticks. So this is one of the few times you could walk into his shop, and if he knows you, he knows what you want to smoke. He understands your palate. Not a sell. If it's a $1 stick, he's going to point you to the $2 stick. He knows you like something else because, again, when you have the unique opportunity to also be the blender and blend cigars, you have that all those special intricacies on knowing what's on somebody's palate and what they'll usually like. And you could give them the 30-year back. Fuck Sanj, you're old. You can give them the 30-year background, Sanj.
Let's hear it. Let's hear it.
Well, so it started as it was something. I had a very bad near-death car accident. So I was not. Prior to this, I was in entertainment business. So I worked for John Casablanca, Elite Mail, and Ford Mail Modeling. And I had a very bad car accident. So on paper, I couldn't do anything. My family had a cigar shop. So as an Indian, we always worked in the cigar shops. And that's what I learned, the business. And then, in 1992, I said I have to do something. I wasn't capable of doing actual physical work. So I have bought this building where I'm at. I have bought this building at the age of my 20 years of age. And one day tenant just leaves. And, I said, hell with it. We're going to do a cigar shop. So in 1992, we did a cigar shop. It was a fully cigar shop. Of course, I kept my Indian roots. I had, candy, soda, newspaper, fucking cigars. And then 1997, when the boom came up, I converted completely into cigars. And then I said, we're not even going to do, we used to do CAOs, Macanudo. And then 97, we completely stopped doing all that. And we went strictly with the boutique cigars. And they
Wow.
always supported the company, small companies. And one thing that we did for 30 years, this shop has always been at MSRP on all the pricing. So most people don't understand what MSRP is. So when you see a pricing on Cigar Aficionado, right?
Yeah.
That's the manufacturer suggested retail price. But where people make mistake, they think those are the prices, but they don't understand that they have to add their each individual state tax, which New Jersey has 30%. So when I first started, it was 0%. Then it was 12%. Then it went to 18. Then it went to 24. And Whitman overnight, she did 48% tax with the floor tax. So what that meant, state came in, looked at all our inventory and said, hey, you owe us 24% more. But we never reached the price. So now even in Jersey, now it's 30% and still MSRP. So that's what it is. So we always said no matter what happens, they were talking about at one time New Jersey tax to go up to 92%. And I used to tell people my prices will be still at MSRP. So
Wow.
that's one thing that we continue tradition, and I always tell people that New Jersey business is not ruined by high taxes or anything. It's ruined by greedy cigar shop owners. They jack up all kind of prices. $10 cigar here is somewhere else is 13, 14, $15.
Wow.
And then complain my goal is I always tell people, I said I don't want 100% of anything. I want 10% of everything. And we blow out boxes and stuff, and that's all that's the way we've been doing business since 92. And it just, and people hate it. All retailers, I have a hashtag. It says the most hated retailer, not by consumer, but cigar shop owners. I got a call a few weeks ago from fucking guy in Arizona because I put Oliva for essential workers, $70 cigars for $34. And he's like, can you not put prices on it? I'm like, you in fucking Arizona. It goes, well, my clients see it because they're on my social media and they complain. And I'm like, well, you could do the same thing. If I could do it, you could do it. So they don't get it. But I guess most of them shouldn't be in the business. They have no clue. 90% of the guys own cigar shops, can't even pronounce name of the cigars that they sell. They don't smoke anything. They're fucking book smart. They don't have firsthand experience. And I mean, it is what it is. And I always tell people you should smoke whatever you feel comfortable. At this point, money has nothing to do with it.
Right.
Because you're smoking cigars. So it's not, you're not a cigarette smoker. You're not going to chase package price here for 10, 15 cents. Doesn't matter.
Right.
So that's one of those things.
The markups that you're talking about, Sanj, and I think it's extremely helpful. And it's first of all, thank you for what you're doing for all the cigar fans out there and for consumers. I think it's wonderful what you have continued to do at Sanj's Smoke Shop. The types of markups you're talking about that happen across the country in a variety of markets. Is that something that has just become more and more the norm that you've seen across the country? Is that something that you all have just seen continue to go up, this type of markup?
Well, markup is individual greed, right?
Right.
So everyone in the cigar industry, there is no discounting. Like whether you buy one box or you buy 100 boxes, it's the same thing everyone's paying, right?
Right.
And what happened? So it becomes, you have guys. First of all, they have no business sense. Second, the tobacco is same price across the board, no matter what. Out of 50 states, no matter where you buy, everything's same. Most states don't even have tax. Florida has zero tax. Pennsylvania has zero tax, and they sell cigars higher than me. Why? Because it's simply in demand, and you don't get it. And then you have some manufacturers, they hold the product. I mean, it's the worst thing to do. It worked maybe in early 80s and early 90s. Fuente were notorious to do that. If you order 50 boxes of Fuente, you got 2 good boxes and you got all curly head. I remember curly head at one time. I had 300 boxes of curly head. We used to sell it for $2 a cigar. and all that they have to stop. But so a lot of people, what they've been doing is demand, holding demand. And what happens with that is actually here, especially in my shop. I can't speak for someone else's shop. In my shop, that because I train my clients and because I educated my consumer, that they move on. If somebody say we can't get it, don't have to be, that cigar they need. They don't have to have that cigar. So I don't play manufacturers and games. A lot of manufacturers play a lot of games and hold the product. No, man, I'm here to sell, make money, and go home. And that's all there's to it.
Right. We've seen that more and more with regard to bourbon. I mean, obviously, as the growth of bourbon and whiskey has continued, bourbons that used to go for $40 or $50 a bottle, whether it's at the liquor store or even before that, distributors, the brands themselves, some have stuck with that MSRP, and then some at either end of it have really risen. So we have to continually support those that are supportive to us, and we appreciate what you're doing. Same question for you, Matty. What as far as the trends go, and compared to what Sanj is doing, what have you seen nationwide, and what do you see continuing to happen? I mean, on what we're talking about here at the pricing.
What are we're talking about? Just what pricing, what you'll get when you go.
Just how there's some
exactly what Sanj says, and a problem, and I think it's in every industry. I know it's certainly in the wine and spirits industry. Is mystique plays a huge role into pricing when you have the mystique of something. When a bottle of Pappy starts out as $75 and goes to the lottery, that you have to be able to even purchase it, and then it winds up popping up at $300 or $400 a bottle. Same thing really does happen in the cigar industry, and Sanj just kept away from it, which is awesome. So, like I said, I've been around Sanj shit. We're getting old, buddy, for 12, 15 years. When you go to Sanj's, you're paying the dead retail. You're not paying for the mystique of a stick. Not to single out anybody's stuff, but just let's suppose you were looking, Tom, you and I have spoken about this before. You were looking for something like a forbidden Opus X. Very, very difficult to get. Only huge stores and people who do the volume of Sanj are able to get their hands on it. I think Sanj's MSRP on that stick is what, Sanj, 31?
Say that again, Matty.
On an Opus X, like a Lost City, your MSRP is what, 31, 32?
It starts from $24. The most expensive one is 31. And regular Opus, that we sell from $970 to $14.55. For Perfection X is $14. But and I also like Añejo. Everybody wants something they can't get, right? So Añejo Sharp 77. We sell it for $12.70. Everywhere else is $35.40, and they put limit. Last time I don't put limit on anything. I'm also across the board. I tell people, listen, I'm not in Russia. I don't have to stay in fucking line. It's the first come, first serve. If you get here and you get 20 boxes, God bless you, knock it out. That's up to you. I don't hold problems. Now, I don't care who tells me, I can't make it, well, $2 bucks. So we're fair across the board. And we do, and that's the thing, like, I don't get it. Why? And then they all complain. Sanj sells 200 boxes. Why can't we sell it? No, because look at your price structure.
Right. So important.
So you're not paying the extra bucks on the mystique. Right. Every now and then across the United States, Tom, as you know, you'll find liquor stores where you're paying what it's supposed to be, the MSRP and everything else. But like I said, since especially boutique cigars, that mystique part of it plays so much into the charging of cigars. You'll go into Sanj, I'm not going to name any sticks. You'll buy something that it's MSRP of maybe 19 or 20 bucks. And there's stores that are only 15 miles away that cigar is magically 59 or 62 or 61 because people really want that stick. And they're going to pay whatever to get a hold of that stick. And as soon as they find out that Sanj does have that stick, well, it's a race because with Sanj, it's first come, first serve. It's not who's holding what. So you better get your ass in gear and you better get going.
Right. Absolutely. And again, for everybody who's just joining us now, it's BourbonBlog Live. Make sure you You bookmark this wherever you're watching it from, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, or just the Bourbon Blog Live, and share this, like this. We want to make sure it's a great party tonight. Tell us down below or tweet back to us what you're drinking, what you're smoking. Will, Chris, so many great people. Irene, we appreciate all the great people saying hello to Sanj and Matty and myself. Keep on letting those comments come. And I'll also put, Sanj, your website. What's your website? I want to put that up there too. Is it on?
We don't have a website, so we still run it old-fashioned way. We don't ship product. If you can come into my shop, I don't need your money.
All right. Well, I think the best place probably to find you is on just search Sanj and Smoke Shop on.
That's it. Google, social media, Facebook, Instagram, we're there.
All that, I'll put that up there. He puts a lot of great photos. Looks like always a party there at Sanj's. And let's go around and talk about what we're smoking and drinking. What are you guys trying tonight?
Sanj, you can lead. What are you up to?
What happened?
Smoking,
Nestor Miranda Dano 2010.
Very nice.
All right, that's super classic stuff. Sanj, you could fill Tom into. There's a good story behind that. Fill him into that story, Sanj.
So Nestor makes this cigar is dedicated to his son, who passed, and he came out with the cigar. Originally, he came out in 2005, so he made limited cigars, and he decided to make that dedication cigar once every 5 years. And this particular one in 2010, Nestor sends me samples, and he said, "I'm going to send you a sample. I need you to smoke and let me know." So when I got the samples, I smoked it. It's one size, 7x54, not normally my size, but this particular cigar. So I called Nestor back and I said, "Nestor, how many boxes you making?" And he says, 1,000 boxes. I said, "Make sure every single box is at my address." So
Wow.
I put every single box, 1,000 boxes. And they advertise, they come out with this. So even like Eric and them from Cigar Shop Magazine, they all came to me and they couldn't find cigars. So I give them all boxes. So majority of these boxes that I give it away, because I'm one of those guys, I rather give cigars away. I give away more cigars than I sell because that's just my nature. I want people to enjoy it. But the beauty about that cigar was that most people thought that it was made by Don Pepin at my father's factory. But it was actually blended by a guy named Amilcar. Most people don't know or not going to know, if you're not in the industry, who that guy is. And that's Pepin's ex-son-in-law. And he's one of the master blender. Most people know that Pepin's not a blender. He's actually a master roller. So this cigars was priceless. And I took every single box. I still have about 400 boxes left. So when you get in town, Tom, there's a name on one box.
Excellent.
Smoke. Then they made it something Ecuador, 500 boxes, and I bought all Ecuador 500 boxes. But it's a phenomenal smoke, unreal stuff. There's a lot of nice cigars, What
do you taste on the cigar? What do you like best about it?
I like, first of all, it's consistency throughout. It changes 4 or 5 times. Now, I don't like peppery cigar. I like cigars that change character. Yeah. So, that's why I'm a big fan of Davidoff. Everyone who knows me, they all know that I smoke Davidoff Millennium Toro every morning, 365 days. That's how I start my day. Yeah, that's how I start my day.
Yeah,
but
that is a great smoke.
What I like complexity. I like cigars that change. I don't like one-directional cigar. So I'm a big fan of Nick Perdomo cigars, Pete Johnson cigars, Nick Malello cigars. Drew Estate. I like Herrera Steli. I like the original 1970 Joy de Nicaraguas. I like.
Yes.
There are a lot of good companies. There are a lot of small companies. But, again, unfortunate thing today, you can't count what I'm saying because I'm going my old ways. Today's cigar manufacturers, I don't know what the fuck they doing, but a lot of con artists, a lot of people shouldn't be, and we're very supportive of those who work hard and do the right thing. And a lot of people ask me like, "Hey, why don't you have Rocky Patel cigars?" What the fuck that guy know about cigars? Nothing. Gurkha? No, I'm not carrying that stuff. I don't sell. I'm not in the fancy cigar box business. I want a cigar that comes wrapped in a fucking plastic, but give me a phenomenal smoke. That's all there's to it. And again, you're gonna find market for anything and everything, right? So it's like the old saying, you build it, they'll come, right? So that's what it is. But 90s, what happened, it was a good thing for the cigar business, and it was a bad thing. Because good thing, those who knew what they were doing, and it kind of helped them. A lot of people were smoking, they helped them, the old timers, right? And bad thing that, I mean, good thing happened for bad people. They saw an opportunity, and they just started wrapping shit, and putting in and fancy names and expensive stuff. I could name 1,000 cigars that came out, and out of principle, I won't support those companies because
Yeah.
they're not. Unfortunately, cigar business. I always tell people, cigar business these days has to become like a diamond business, right? Everybody thinks diamond is expensive, but no, diamond is only what it's worth and what you're willing to pay. Diamond has zero value. That's the worst investment you could do. And today a lot of social media fucked up this business. Cigar aficionado fucked up this business. Cigar aficionado, I don't even support that fucking magazine because that's a bought magazine. You come out with cigars and give me a blank check, I get you #1 rating. If you're a smoker and if you're a connoisseur and you understand tobacco, some of the #1 cigars that they come up with, I scratch my fucking head and say, how the fuck this happened? And there are phenomenal guys that manufacture cigars, and it's just mind-boggling to me.
Right. And you see that, I mean, and that's again something you've just seen more and more as far as branding, marketing dollars go. You think that's influenced it more and more as you've had your shop, as you've been in the business.
Right.
Yeah.
I've been doing this for 30 years, and I never dare would write a fucking review on any cigars. I'm still learning. Every day I learn.
Right.
And then today you got all these fucking guys. They can even pronounce the name of cigars, and they're bloggers. They got channels. What the fuck they doing? I don't get it. And that's what it is.
Right.
Yeah.
A lot of people really enjoying your perspective. Victor is enjoying it. Will, Sanj is unapologetic, and you're just. We appreciate your honesty a lot, Sanj. Victor also saying preach it. A lot of people really enjoying what you have to say because it is so refreshing to hear what you're saying. And again, if you have any questions for Sanj, do ask them down below. He'll tell you about more of his favorite cigars and what he sees in the business. And Matty, what are you smoking and what are you drinking there?
What I'm dropping today is I smoked a couple of heavier body cigars today, so I went for something a little bit lighter. So
Yep.
The Drew Estate Acid today. So you and I both smoked those together. So
wonderful.
Got the nice natural infusion on it. As you and I talk about, I'm a big Maduro guy. So I had my nice Mexican San Andreas Maduro on there. And since we know I don't really do my adult beverages, today we got a honey cream from Americana. So mixing in a little bit of honey cream sweetness goes down real nice with the Maduro. Of course, it never sounds quite as fun as the man with the Plan U talking about adult beverages. So break it down for us. What you got today, Tom?
I will, and thank you, Matty and Sanj both. I am actually on cigars. I am doing the Florida Sun Grown, which I'm a big fan of the Florida Sun Grown, and I have paired that with a cocktail called the Suburban, which is part rye, and I'm using the Whistle Pig Piggyback, the 6-year-old Whistle Pig, fairly new from Whistle Pig in the last couple of years. Really delicious and very cocktail friendly, along with the Plantation special dry rum. And it's also, you put a little port in this cocktail along with some Angostura bitters or aromatic bitters and some orange bitters. You can also use white port. Today we used a regular Tawny port. It's a beautiful cocktail, extremely complimentary to the cigar. And we want to know what you guys are trying. Please tell us down below. PD is throwing his shout out to Sanj as well. PD, thanks for watching. Glad to have everybody watching us and talking cigars and drinks and just everything. All right. So, I mean, so Sanj, you told us about a couple of your favorites. I think, one of the things that I think, because people ask me this question too, Sanj, is, aside from, because you can have a great whiskey that's, $30, you can have a great one that's a couple $100. But how do you find those special whiskeys, bourbons that haven't had the price inflated or that are not super rare? How do, when you look at a cigar that's, say a good value cigar, what are you looking for? And you named a few, but what have you found that you would point people towards that are saying, hey, I want a great cigar, but I don't want to pay a fortune for it or have to go on this massive hunt for it?
That's a great question, Tom. So what happens today's business? Again, most of the retailers, they're not experienced. So a lot of times the common question I get asked is anything you bring in your shop and you blow it out. There is a reason for it. I don't buy because what I like. Taste the cigars. I look at, I tell them to send me samples and everything. And if 80, 90% of my consumer, I know their palate. 40% of the people that come to my shop and they just say, hey, give me $500 worth of cigars. And for years, because they know I know their palate. Also, we don't upsell. And when I teach people, first thing I always tell people, there is good $2 cigars, there is garbage $20 cigars.
Right.
Certain things I like, what's good for me may not be good for you. And what happens with that is, again, a lot of new cigar shop guys, they only have what magazine tells them. They don't have their own experience. They don't smoke. I smoke 8, 9 cigars a day. There is not a cigar in my shop that I don't smoke. So a lot of guys don't know. They only know the cigar aficionado, whatever they said. If you go most places, they're like, yeah, it has this, that, and this, and it doesn't work that way. So you have to learn. You have to smoke and that's the unfortunate thing today, that anybody and everybody has got into this business. And I always also blame manufacturers for putting their product in certain places. If you're high end stuff, listen, I don't know much about alcohol, I don't drink, but I'm sure you know I had to give somebody a gift, and about a year ago I went out to like 8 different stores looking for a bottle of Pappy Van Winkle, and
Right.
I couldn't find it. So they're like, "Oh, you have to go." So I had to go all the way to South Jersey. Guy, I'm Indian, and we run liquor market. So I called my connect, and I said, "Hey, I need this," and he says, "Yes, $1,200." I said, "I don't care. Money's not a problem. I just need the bottle." So if the cigar manufacturers put their product in certain cigar shops, they would actually do better. Right now, they put anybody opens up a cigar shop, they put their product. So now what you're doing, you're saturating the market. Also, you cheapening your product by putting in certain places because the guy's not going to give full justice to your product because he doesn't know. Cigar Aficionado said tomorrow, hey, ABC is #1 rated cigar and people want it. Who chases all these rating cigars? Youngsters, newcomers, which they have no knowledge. These are the same people. If you say, hey, this cigar is for $3 and this is $30, they don't want it for $3 because it's not $30. But yeah, you give them shit cigar for $30 and they love it. Why? Not because they enjoyed it, because the guy
Right.
next to him said, "Oh wow, that's a $30 cigar."
Right.
And manufacturers have a lot to do with it too. Manufacturer should control, especially nowadays. And again, it's just BS. And then manufacturer wants to complain, hey, this product's not selling. No, you took the mystique out of it. If you had a high end liquor, you can't put it on every liquor store. You have to decide that. And the cigar guys, they just it's just horde of a market. Whoever's willing to buy their product, buy it because they don't have faith in their product. So it's messed up nowadays. Look, what I was my best time in this business was 97 all the way until 2005, 2006. After that, it just went saturated, and now it's like but fortunate for me, every single customer that comes in, I sit down with them, I take time, I teach them how to cut, I teach them how to light properly. So a lot of people can't do it. I help them find their palate. They never smoke. You go to most cigar shops, right? And they say, "Oh, I never smoked a cigar. I want a cigar." What they do? They give you first thing they give is a flavor shit. That's the worst thing you could do to somebody. Then they have a bad experience because they smoke that cigar and they get sick. Because if you're smoking flavored cigars, your mouth gets saliva. You're not gonna spit it out because whatever the fuck you bought, cotton candy, whatever, you taste it, you swallow that, but at the same time you're taking that in you. So now tobacco is diuretic. So either you're gonna throw up, it's gonna give you diarrhea, or you're gonna feel like you're having a fucking heart attack. And then they're not gonna smoke cigars. So if somebody came to me first time, I give them something very mild, and then I at least they're gonna feel it, what's in their mouth. So if they feel tobacco taste, they're gonna spit it out, not gonna swallow it. So they're not gonna have a bad experience. But everybody and their mother wants to say, send this fucking flavor, and it doesn't work that way. And I hope, listen, Matty knows I never supported CRA, Cigar Rights of America, none of those groups. They do absolutely nothing for this industry. Zero. None of this. None of this group. I've been trying to call TAA for fucking 4 years. Not a single person has returned my call. Nothing. Nothing. So this is the industry. That's what it's coming for. Everybody's, they all want to say Cigar Rights of America, right? Originally, when they started, they came to me and they're like, "You want to be ambassador?" I said, "For what?" Now you have their ambassadors. The guys never smoke cigars. All they do is spend, they get $30, $40 a month, right? They got 4,000 members, 40,000. That's $4 million a year, and they partying. What the fuck are you doing for my industry? No one is there. No one is there to do any of it, and I don't support it. I don't. I've been here 30 years. I have never attended IPCPR. None of those shows. I refuse to do it. I refuse to do it because it's they telling you something else, and I have issues. Anybody knows me. I have issues with morals, ethic, and principle. I'm one of those guys. If you call me and say I need 10 grand, but I can't pay you back, here's 20. But you take $1 from me, so you're gonna pay me back. I'm gonna hire a fucking attorney, spend 10 grand to get that fucking dollar. So a lot of stuff is an issue here,
Right.
and they don't do nothing. They what do you call the PCA now is called. The way it originally started, it was supposed to be for retailers only. And you're charging 370. I don't know what it is now, but back in the day it was $375. Order for you to get special deals once a year and stuff, it was strictly for retailers who are a member. Right now, anybody and everybody. Then they got this fucking hookah shit and all kind of vape industry. What the fuck is that? So they don't obviously care. If they did, listen, I care for this business. I have never changed a single thing. I still do things. People say, "Oh, why don't you computerize everything?" I'm an old-fashioned guy. Every single time, every single fucking price in my shop is hand returned.
Wow.
I do everything by hand. And that's my thing. And people, like I said earlier, I mentioned, if you can't come into my shop and I don't know what you like and I can't educate you, I don't need your money. I'm not here for money. I want people to learn. I want people to understand this business. And 80% of the manufacturers today are fucking bullshitters. They're not giving people what they're telling they're giving. It's just garbage. It's just garbage. And you have people have no choice because they don't know. So if you come out with something and say this is good, who says it's good? Hey, you Tom, you eat steak? You eat steak?
Right. No, I know what you mean. I understand.
Do you eat steak?
Oh, do I? Yes. Yes.
Well, I'm vegetarian. So what the fuck does that mean? Steak's bad? No, it's something I don't eat. So I don't get these people. There's somebody else's opinion.
Whether it is whiskey, cigars, whether it's trade organizations. I mean, what is your general? I mean, your thoughts for how any industry, whether especially these kind of industries, right? Whiskey, cigars. What's a way that they can move forward to ensure that they're doing right by consumers and encouraging that education and getting past the marketing? I mean, what do you think that we all have to do?
Devaluate the dollar. That's all it's all about. Tom.
Right.
Bottom line is money.
Right.
And it bothers me, and the thing is, I mean, listen, there are still a lot of good people in this business, at the manufacturing level, right? And it's just, what bothers me is that they don't control it.
Right.
Manufacturers should control it. They should be careful. If Rolls Royce started giving fucking Hyundai dealer a fucking Rolls Royce, then that whole status prestige is out the door.
Right.
You could charge people. I mean, this is something that came as a fad, that people going to spend money, because most people, their thing is more expensive the cigar, better the cigar is, and it's not. It's not true.
Right.
Everyone knows that, and I'm sure it's in your same business, in your liquor business, the same thing, correct? So, I mean, it's my responsibility at my shop that no one, not a single person, gets, no matter what kind of questions they ask, I always educate them. I sit with them, and that's my job, because I take a lot of pride in it. I love this business. If I ever joined, Jose Blanco about 10 years ago asked me to become president of IPCPR, and I said, Jose, I would ruin this fucking business. You would only have true people that love and have love for tobacco will remain in this business. And again, there's a lot of manufacturers, and people say, hey, how come you don't carry this product? I don't tell it to consumer my reasons, but you know what? I don't value their know-how. I don't think they in it for love of it. I think they're only in it for money, and that's all is to them. And I refuse to support people like that.
Right. No, I think you have some good perspectives there. Again, it's Sanj Patel of Sanj's Smoke Shop and Matty Rock that we're talking with on our Saturday night Cigar Saturday with Matty Rock and Tom Fischer on BourbonBlog Live, and we're glad everyone's watching. So many great questions that we'll get to, and I'll go ahead and say this. I care a lot about whiskey education, and I'll go ahead and mention my email address if anyone has any whiskey questions. Tom@BourbonBlog.com. We love to make sure, just like Sanj, make sure that you get the best cigar that you can for your palate. We want to make sure that we go right to it and get you the best whiskey, the best spirit that you can for your palate. And we host a lot of virtual tastings, especially right now during COVID. We've been doing a lot of Zoom meetings, elevating some business calls, or just for fun. If you want to do a virtual tasting, a private tasting with me, drop me a line at tom@bourbonblog.com, or as we look towards the future, we host tastings in person, and we'd love to plan out and do a tasting with you in person wherever in the country you are. And we're going to try to get there to Sanj's Smoke Shop in the new year, Sanj, and do some sort of tasting there with you. I think it'd be a lot of fun.
Absolutely.
Yeah. We have a great, I love this conversation we're having. I think it's so important to talk about what flavor really is, and getting to the real heart of, what do we enjoy? And a good question came up a moment ago from Annabelle on the studies of psychology on wine. Now, there are some, and I can even put the links down below. And thanks, Annabelle, for that question. There are some links or some videos and studies done by University of Cambridge on with sommeliers that actually, they hooked up brain sensors to these sommeliers, and they said, hey, a $100 bottle of wine or a $10 bottle of wine. And it was actually shown that when they were told, and these are the experts, supposedly, when they were told this is a more expensive wine, not only did it register higher on the sensory, but they rated it higher, but in some ways they enjoyed it more. So they actually internally, in their mind, they enjoyed the wine more, being told this is a rare wine. So when you're told something is rare, or it has a lot of prestige or expense to it, it can actually change your pleasure zone. That doesn't always mean it's better. So obviously, in our industry, in whiskey and in spirits, we have blind tastings for competitions. I know that is done some in the cigar business too. Is that something that you like to do, Sanj? Or do you like blind tastings? Do you think that?
Yeah, if we did individual blind tasting, that'd be perfect. That's, Jose Blanco did a test, and I love the way he does it, right? But far as magazine blind tasting and stuff goes, listen, there's a lot of behind closed door issues going on, and that's what it is. So what I'm about to say, Tom, you're not gonna like me, right?
But no, I like what you're saying. I think it's fun.
But this is one of the things I always tell people. People say, hey, they don't know that I don't drink because most people know that I'm fucked up, right? Naturally, I'm fucked up. So they think I drink, I party. I don't do any of it, right? So they ask me,
Asshole, all naturally.
yeah. So, so they ask me all the time, and they're like, hey, what can we compare? What cigar goes with this? And you know what I tell them? Very honest. And I tell them, I say, listen, if you go to diner, 24-hour corner diner, what do you see on the table? Salt and pepper. Why is that? Because that's cooked. Whatever the dish you get, it's made across the board same. But I said, if you go into a high-end restaurant, you don't see any of that. Why is that? Because whatever chef created, that's exactly what he wants you to taste, and don't fucking alter it. So I feel the same way about cigars. If a master blender took years and years of time for you to taste something, taste it the way he meant for you to taste it. And so I don't even drink, I do a lot of espressos. I don't even drink coffee when I smoke cigars. I'll have my coffee and then I'll wash my mouth and then I'll have a cigar. Because, especially, yeah, if I already know the cigar palette, cigar taste, and if it's a repeat stuff, I'll mix it. I don't care. But if it's something new I'm trying, and I always tell people, a well-made cigar, well-balanced cigar, you should not have to compare it with anything. Again, it's in their mind. I have expensive cigar, I have expensive booze, something that changes in their mind, right? So it's not necessary that it either enhances the alcohol or it enhances the tobacco. It's neither one. So I always educate people that you should never pair anything with a high-end cigar. If you're just smoking, everyday stuff, then experiment. That's a whole different level. But like, Davidoff's, you have Nick Perdomo stuff, Ashton ESGs. It's my favorite cigar, all-time favorite cigar. Perdomo 20th anniversary Maduro. Here, this is the guy, Nick Perdomo, is one of the guy that a lot of people don't appreciate his stuff. But he's one of the oldest guy that still does the right thing for years and years. He hasn't raised prices for a long time. There are a lot of good manufacturers. Nick Malello, Steve Saka I love Steve Saka stuff. Nick Malello stuff, so there's a lot of good stuff. Illusione from Dean is a phenomenal smoke. There are a lot of good, and they're all under $10. Except Steve Saka's, San Compromiso. Other than that, it's all under $10, $12, which is an average price today. It's not $25, $30 for some fancy box and fancy band. You can't smoke the box, you can't eat the fucking band. So I always educate people.
Well, I do because I'm fat, but
Yeah. Well, Matty, you take that DZ10, brother, so you could digest anything.
I do my stuff. But that's the biggest thing
Yeah.
Sanj and I have always talked about, Tom, and it happens obviously with wines and spirits and distilleries. Somebody will come out with the super limited, ultra premium, one time only. And at the end of the day, what does that mean? And not to name names, even in the liquor industry, there's people that don't even have their own distillery. They're using somebody else's stuff, and that mystique and that magic and that super special. And like you said, that little thing goes off in their mind and says, holy crap, this has got to be the best thing out there on the market because it's super limited. But what does that actually mean when you're saying something super limited, especially, and I know you get it from your side because there's places that don't even have their own distillery. They go get it. It's a small batch from that distillery that becomes their own, but is it really super limited, premium, or hard to get?
Yeah, no, those are good points.
That's the same thing with cigar industry. Some of these guys come out with cigars super limited, and I tell my consumer, I said, listen, if a Davidoff makes something and they tell you that they only made 10,000 cigars, there is not a 10,001 cigar there. So buy it. But there are people come out. There are guys came out fucking 12 years ago, 15-year anniversary reserve, super limited. The fucking thing never ended. It's still here. I mean, I don't carry it, but it's just the way it is. So there's a lot of BS in this business, and listen, I don't go on social media and telling people that's none of my business. But if you came to my shop as a consumer, it's my job to bring it to your attention. It's that simple.
I think it's so important that you're doing that, and And like in say in bourbon, there are definitions for single barrel, cask strength. There's not an actual definition for small batch.
Right.
Limited edition. Limited edition can mean anything. So I think that if there was a definition for limited edition, it would be helpful. I do think most of the bourbon distilleries that we know, when they put limited on there, I think usually it's legit. It might mean limited as opposed to a major release of 100,000 bottles versus if they're only making 5,000 of their regular release. But I think there's so much nice crossover that I think we can continue to always explore in our Cigar Saturdays and conversations about bourbon, about spirits, and how it crosses over into cigars. And I think it's great, Sanj, that you love doing a cigar by itself. I mean, for me, I always like to pair something probably just because I like, the way different flavors can play against each other, kind of like with cocktails.
Right.
I might drink the Whistle Pig by itself, or am I going to put it in a cocktail? In many ways, when I'm thinking about what I'm going to pair a cigar with, it kind of becomes like a cocktail, but in your mouth with tobacco and spirit. But I think it's so great to have all these different ways to approach it when it comes to pairings. When it comes to some people like to pair, the food with cigars. At the end of the day, it's just all about the personal experience, and I love your approach to education and just into reality. And to just cutting through the BS, Sanj. I think you're really doing an amazing job. You're doing great work, and you've made it so you've blended some of your own. Tell us about some of your personal blends, Sanj.
So, we have something we made. I used to make cigar, so this is weird. A lot of people who's gonna find it. So there was a guy named Ben Arm. Jose Blanco knows him well. He's in coffee business now. He's in Dominican Republic. So he was the original blender for Thomas Hine Cigar Company. So they made Astral, Don Tomas, Helix, and about 2093, Ben came to see me, and I said, Ben, let's make a cigar. Let's blend the cigar. So he said, yeah, sure. We'll help you out. And, we did stuff and we made a cigar. So in the industry, this is crazy. In 1993, so everything I do, I have issues, right? So I always do like copyright stuff. I spend money, I do my research, and I, put trademarks and patents and stuff. So at that time, we did, because the tobacco that Ben brought over, it had to be a larger ring gauge. Otherwise, it would be too strong, non-enjoyable. And I didn't want a cigar like that. I tell people I like spicy food, but I cannot eat a fucking bowl full of chili, right? I need complexity. So we created this cigar, right? So at that time, there was two cigars, had a large ring gauge. One is called Casablanca, Bourbon and half Bourbon, that was owned by JR Tobacco. And then the other one that we found at that time was called Immenso, which is owned by Nick Perdomo, which is 70 ring gauge cigar, right? So I said, let's do something. So we actually came out with the size 54 ring gauge cigar. And then I said to Bent, I said, let's make something funny. It was actually started as a joke, and we made 5x60 ring gauge cigar. So even today, all those ring gauges are trademarked by me. So if I wanted to sue all these people making 60s and 54 ring gauge, they have to take it off the market. Right. A lot of people don't know. They think we had. So I came out with that cigar. So it was 6x54, 7x54, and a 5x60. So we had three sizes. And then we had a Connecticut broadleaf. And then at that time, there was a new wrapper Ben came out with it. It was an experimental wrapper. Most people won't even know, and they probably never heard of it unless you're in industry. It was called Talanga wrapper. So we made a Talanga wrapper. It was doing phenomenal. Then Astral made Astral Talanga, the pigtail that used to be supposed to be my project. And then they ended up selling the company, and it got, and then again, with the ethic, moral, and principle issues, we had guy named who became today is known as PDR. Guy named Juan comes to me. He didn't have much. and he has a shop in New Orleans now. And he says, "Son, you need to put me in a business. You need to put me in a map." So we created a cigar with him. He came very close. 98% it was close to an original blend. And then, we were making tons and tons of cigars. We never sold again. We never retailed it to any other shop. You had to come here. And if you didn't come here, you couldn't get it. For me, again, it's not a money thing.
Right.
So, we were selling tons and tons out of here. And then he sold it to Abe. Abe came and Abe wanted to change everything. Again, new guy, want to change, he wants to conquer the fucking world. He changed everything. I said, I can't do it. Then actually at the La Aurora factory, Jose Blanco was making my cigars. And it wasn't close enough because we simply couldn't get that tobacco that UST had. And I said, Jose, we're gonna stop this. And then we just took out, and that took a lot out of me to say, let's stop this project. Because to me, consumer don't know. Consumer look at the band. It had a Cohiba band. It said SP 1014 on it, and my signature was on a Sanj Patel. So a lot of people think that, oh, we're knocking off Cohibas, but they don't understand. I own the Cohiba trademark.
Oh, do you?
I own Viguero trademark. So we have, even under Obama administration, major companies that they have names today, Cohiba and Viguero, they actually came to me. They offered me $9 million to get both trademarks. And I said, I'm not selling you anything. So Zenith, they made a watches for our 40th anniversary. We told them you couldn't sell it. They offered me 10 watches for them to sell it in the US. I said, no. SC DuPont lighter made a Cohiba lighter. I said, you cannot sell it. So we don't sell it. We have so many offers. They want to license it. I says, no, it's mine, and that's all there's to it. So, we are talking about a major company. They want to license it. But what I want to do, if we do license it, I have a project that I donate a lot of money to SIDS. And I lost my daughter in 2004 to SIDS. So it's very dear to me. So whatever company takes it, if they're willing to donate 100% of the money, then I would let them use it, and they could license that logo. So a lot of people in the industry thinks, oh, guy has a fake Cohiba logo, and we did to a lot of people. Kojimar was the first one. We made him change the color. General Cigars came. I hate that fucking company because they bother a small mom and pop store, and they bully everybody. So you know what? They came out with something called Siglo 6, and I fucking sued them. And they burned almost like 750,000 boxes. That was the best day of my life.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So we made them take everything out. So, a lot of people think that, oh, guy has a Cohiba bandana, he's trying to copy Cohiba. No, you have no clue about history. So it's mine, we have his own. So it's just amazing how,
No, it's so important, everything you're saying. How did you come to get the trademark, the Cohiba trademark?
That was actually my second cigar I smoked. First cigar, my family had a shop, so I never forget it. I was in high school, 10th grade, and I was always impressed by the type of clients came in, suit and tie, and perfect gentlemen. They never argue with the pricing, anything. So my uncle had a cigar shop, so I would work there, and he always impressed me. And so one day I never forget it, Tiamo Cedro Deluxe. I took it. I kind of stole it, without anybody in my family knowing. And I played tennis for my school. So I took it. We were 6, 7 of us went on back of the bleacher. We went behind this building and we all got sick. That's the day we thought we were going to die. And, my uncle, he found out that this would happen. He beat the hell out of me. And then he taught me how to smoke cigars. So my second cigar was a Cohiba cigar.
Wow.
And we were going to Canada. I was buying a box of Cohibas. I mean, back in the day, the Cohibas still had oils on the paper, like fingerprint, right? And I fell in love with it. And I was just sitting there. And I said, you know what? I did a lot of artwork and stuff. So I said, you know what? Let me see if I could trademark this. And I said that I had a friend of mine, young kid, just became attorney. He did intellectual international property laws. So I said, Vincent, can you see if he could get trademark? He said, yeah. It was at that time was $350 to trademark this, and it was a lot of money, for a kid. So I said, fuck it, let's do it. So we did it. It came back, and since then we own it. The
That's
only mistake,
incredible.
the only mistake we made at that time that we didn't trademark the name. So Vigero, when we did, I didn't make that mistake. So Vigero, the name Vigero itself, I own it in U.S.
But it's the
So
logo that you actually own on the Cohiba, not the name.
yes,
Wow.
yes, not the name. That's why Journal Cigars have Cohiba, Red Dot Cohiba cigars. That why they can use the logo. So they can use my logo. So name, but we're gonna hold on to it. And if somebody wants to come out with something, if they're willing to donate money to charity, then I'm in.
That's so important. Is that the name of that charity again? I want to make sure we pass that along. Is there the name of that or a website we can point people to?
No, no, we just do everything we do firsthand. So what I do on her name,
Okay.
Matty's part of a lot of it. So we'll find like local kid, or if it's somebody has any health issues, cancer. So we'll do a lot of stuff, and then we always match whatever we collect. We always match it, and we give it to the person, whoever is the beneficiary that night. So we run it, and I do we doing something big with. I have very rare cigars of about 85 boxes that today smokers would do it. So I have one charity coming up. I'm planning to do all the super rare of the rare stuff. We're gonna do ticket for $200. My goal is to raise $500,000 and raffle that off. So the
Wow.
cigars that you will get, black market value is over 100,000. Legal market value is about 40,000.
Wow.
But
Wow.
even at the 40,000, you can get that product. So we're gonna put a lot of rare stuff, and hopefully it works out for us. So I have two charities that I want to do that for. I want to split the money and give them, $500,000 each.
Excellent. So many great people watching. That's awesome, Sanj. Nice work. Thanks for watching us, Art and Chris and Dave Gurton, everybody who's watching us. Chris Duque, question for Sanj. I think you touched on it a little bit, but how long have you been involved in cigars? You mentioned your father had a shop. How many
My
generations?
uncle, my uncle,
Your
my
uncle.
uncle.
Okay. So so you have some family that goes back several generations
Yes,
that were involved in
yes,
cigars.
yes.
Yeah. Great. That's amazing. And it's, I think it's what you're saying. I think it's so important for the industry as far as, what we can look forward to. And I think again, the whole interview here has been really, I think what cigar makers, what whiskey makers, what anybody, whether we're consumers or brand ambassadors, whatever we do, I think we can all learn something from this. We're actually, we're going to put this audio up on our podcast channel too. So if you're not already subscribed to our Bourbon Blog podcast channel, we put all these interviews up on our podcast channel. Definitely log on there, anchor.fm/Bourbon Blog. Subscribe to that. Listen to this interview later. But if you were to offer any advice, say for the cigar brands, whether they're doing great work or work that you wish was great, what advice would you give them going forward on what they can do well for consumers when it comes to flavor, when it comes to making the best stuff? What advice would you give?
So let me understand the question. I'm sorry, I didn't hear you. You're asking me for what should manufacturers do or consumer?
Well, I think both. I think, as we all look forward as the whole community of cigars in this business, what advice
So,
would you give all of us?
so on manufacturers, what I recommend, right, is control their product where it's being sold. Now, if you're making something Walmart grade, then be it. But if you're making something, Mercedes grade, Bentley grade, then control where it's being sold. Now,
Right.
as far as consumer concerned, consumer is very hard to control because now in New Jersey, the way it has come, it's more even cigar lounges, right? It has come more of a club type environment than cigar shops. So you go to a lot of these lounges, they're fucking 40 boxes of cigars, 80% of flavor shit, and they call themselves cigar shops lounge, right? But it's more of a hangout spot. So that kind of consumer, they're not willing to learn. And my experience here, if somebody who's willing to learn and they really enjoy cigars, they're gonna find guy like me. Sooner or later, they're gonna find guy like me. So again, it's like better late than never, right? So it's consumer end. I can't say much because it's more nichey. They feel, oh, Matty Rock's over there. Let's go hang with Matty Rock. So hell with the who's doing the right thing. But the issue that I have, right, and I wish all these manufacturers would address this: control your product, control where you're putting it. Because to me, a lot of people say, how come you don't carry this cigar? It's very popular. You know what my answer is? You could get them at corner convenience store. So what is the difference between somebody like me and a convenience store? So I actually have issue with manufacturers. Consumer, I have no problem with. Consumer, they're gonna find you sooner or later. Even if they find you by accident, they're gonna find you because my social media, your social media presence is heavy, and then a lot of times what happens, you try to educate people. There are a lot of people writing blogs, a lot of people all of a sudden they're fucking cigar experts, right? And they in the business not even fucking 6 months. So they get a lot of false information. Just yesterday, I had a guy walk in. He saw a DuPont lighter, my DuPont lighter. He said, "Oh man, that's a nice lighter." He said, "Do you sell it?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "How much is it?" I said, "$3,500." So he said, "Oh, let me buy it." I said, "No, how long you been smoking cigars?" And he goes, "Oh, I just started, but I want everything, best of the best." I said, "You may not like it. 2 months from now, you say, you know what? I don't like it. What are you going to do with that lighter?" I said, "Here's the matches. Come back 6 months later. I'll sell you the same lighter." So that is doing the right thing. See, anywhere else you go, right? They have a sales reps. They want to sell you, hey, somebody comes in, sell them whatever. No, my job is, and I wish same thing that manufacturers did. Manufacturers whoring out their product and they taking the mystique out of that whole situation, And I'm not saying it, don't sell your product. No, sell your product, but put it in the right place. That's the only thing I want from manufacturers.
Right. I
You
think
know.
that's important. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Sanj, Matty, how long have you guys known each other? You guys have known each other for a while?
Hey,
Sanj has been.
yeah, just yesterday, Tom, I was looking for a rope. I was gonna hang myself. I said, I gotta see this guy for 1 hour straight.
Well, you know what? I don't drink, and this is the first time I got fucking hammered, so I could deal with it. I called Tom up and I was like, "Mike, you sell Can you get me Everclear?" And of course, Tom is gracious as always. So right now, you could light my piss on fire.
And that was just yesterday, huh?
But here's what I see for the future, guys. Here's what I see for post-COVID. So you have two big educators right here in the room, and you, Tom, and you, Sanj. So I'm thinking of Tom Fischer, Sanj Patel party in the back, Sanj, a couple hundred people.
Yes.
You host the event the way it is. So you're going to get a real education on cigars, on tobacco. And again, remember, guys, all of those of you who know Sanj knows that he blends, creates his own stuff. And anybody who knows Tom knows almost 2 decades in on spirits, bourbons, everything else. So it's going to be quite the experience. So, obviously, I'm plugging away for that because that's something I want to see because that's going to be a lot of education in one room. And Tom, let him know again the best way to reach you, whether it's for questions now or whether it's to throw a big shindig in the future post COVID-19.
Absolutely, my friends. And again, Sanj and Matty, it's so much fun chatting with you guys and so many people enjoying the conversation. And we will let everybody know when that party at Sanj's place will be in the near future or whatever it might be, 2021.
So let's do one better.
Yeah.
Let's do a bourbon and cigar party. I'll guarantee you stuff 20 years old, whoever attends it, and we'll sell tickets and every single money will be donated, Tom, to your favorite charity.
I love it. That sounds like a great plan, my friend. Thank you.
Yeah, bring it on. We do it.
We will do it. It would be my pleasure to support a great cause. And Sanj, it'll be so much fun to do that with you. Drop me a line at tom@bourbonblog.com. We'll put you on the list. If anybody's watching or wants to be invited to that party, if you're just wanting a whiskey tasting virtually ahead of time, drop me a line to talk about the whiskeys. Definitely come back every Saturday night. Matty Rock and I do this every Saturday night on BourbonBlog.com/live. Do we know who's coming? Obviously, we definitely want to get Sanj back on our show. Matty, do we know who's coming next week?
We do. It'll be George Morse guy from Five Monkeys Barbecue. So
from the Five Monkeys
we'll get to talk with the guy that created Five Monkeys barbecue sauce. George, if you're listening, sorry man, but I'm going orange chili is my favorite. That citrus chili is my favorite. But so we're gonna have a chit chat with the man with the plan with the barbecue sauce, and I think we're gonna have a lot of fun. He's also an avid cigar smoker, and he's into his wine and spirits as well.
and we will put this podcast up. It's going to be up permanently wherever y'all are watching it. But if you guys want to listen to this, because I think it's such an important conversation about cigars, about whiskey, definitely listen to our podcast there on Anchor FM, Bourbon Blog. Sanj, are you able to turn the camera on and show us your shop there? Can we
Sure.
Yeah, just to feel like we're there. Look at all those sticks, man. That is incredible. How many total sticks do you
Show
have?
them the lounge and the outside, Sanj.
So this is the shop first. And then I'm going to walk to the lounge. That's Mr. Banks. So this lounge is open 24/7 for our members.
Very nice.
This is back lounge.
Very nice. We might have gotten a little further away from the internet there. Can you see it, Matty?
As soon as he walks out the door, you'll probably pick him up again. He's going to show you out.
Oh, there it is. There it is. Oh, wow. Look right behind you. Show us that last part once again. No, that's okay. It's all right. I think we kind of saw it. Your barbecue in there tonight, right?
Yes.
Very nice. Very nice.
They're having a barbecue. I didn't have shit. We'll have to talk about that later, Sanj.
It sounds incredible.
Yeah.
It looks very nice. Well, Sanj, such a pleasure having you on. You know, I think you hit on a lot of things that I really appreciate about good whiskey, good spirits. It's all about the product for cigars, for spirits. A lot of people ask me, what do I love about a great whiskey or a great cocktail? And I always, very similar to what you said, I always say, you know, I want something that's not just one noted. I want something that really does evolve over time. And that's exactly, you know, I think what I'm looking for in a good cigar too. And I think that's really good guidance that you give. How can you find something that can continue to evolve with the process? I think that's what flavor is all about, with food, with cigars, with whiskey. And I think that's what we got to continue to look for. And I hope that's what everyone else is looking for. It's good. A singular flavor is good, but an evolution of flavors is so important.
Yes.
Yeah. Guys, thank you so much, Sanj Patel.
Pleasure.
Smoke shop there in Bloomfield, New Jersey. Matty Rock, as always, great having you on, brother. And we will do this again next week. And until then, be watching us next week on Bourbon Blog Live. We're going to have all kinds of great people, everyone from Preston Van Winkle. We will have the Van Winkle son himself on next week. We're going to be tasting also from Sonoma County Distilling Company a black truffle rye. We're also going to have our friends from Peerless on, all kinds of great people Monday through Friday of next week on Bourbon Blog Live. And then Saturday, again, same time, same place, bourbonblog.com/live with Matty Rock and I. Everybody stay well. Cheers, guys. Great having you, Sanj. It's been a lot of fun.
Much love, gents. Be well. Have a good night. I look forward to seeing y'all and everyone. Thank you very much for watching. Much love. Stay safe.
Good night.
Love. Cheers, guys.